forget to start the recording.
Thank you. I did. I did remember. And good evening. Where is my script? There we go. Please be aware that the first hour and a half of this meeting will be recorded so that we can put it onto our website, our podcast, and our YouTube channel. We record in audio only. Feel free to use the podcast on our website along with your big book as a resource if you missed the study portion of the meeting. And we also put the reading that we're going to study tonight on our website as well. And there we go. The study portion is also listed on the website so you can follow along. I should just read the script. Tonight's recap will start on page 122 where it says Our Women Folk. And we'll end on page 123, Take Years to Complete. And the study for tonight will start right after that on page 123, Father Knows He Is. And we'll end on page 125 where it says A Spirit of Love and Tolerance. And are there any announcements from the floor? I have two. Our next group conscience will be on March 17th. And as usual, anyone is welcome to attend our group conscience meetings, but only home group members, as of the beginning of the meeting, are eligible for voting. So anyone can attend, anyone can ask questions, but only home group members are eligible for voting. And backing up on the calendar, on February 22nd, we will be having a service workshop which will be sharing all sorts of different ways you can get involved in service in this group, which then also is going to kind of overlap into other groups as well, because a lot of things in Zoom work the same. It will be specific for our group, but once you get the training on Zoom, a lot of that is also going to be the same as in other groups as well. So Shayna, would you like to go ahead and kick us off from there, please?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I'm a recovered alcoholic, and my name is Shayna. Welcome to the Lewisburg Primary Purpose Big Book Study Group. To prepare for a Big Book study, let's get focused by having a 3-minute moment of silence, a moment of meditation, followed by our family's fog light prayer.
And I'm a recovered alcoholic. My name is Trish, and thanks so much for joining us tonight. We're going to start the meditation in a minute, so please take a moment to get yourself situated.
Please be aware of background noises when you are unmuted and sharing, as not to distract others or yourself. We suggest we all observe proper Zoom etiquette. If you wouldn't do it in a live meeting, please don't do it here. A friendly reminder, absence of profanity offends no one. Please keep yourself muted during someone else's share. We will call on you in the order hands are raised.
And from the forward to the first edition of Alcoholics Anonymous, we of Alcoholics Anonymous are many thousands of men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. To show other alcoholics precisely how we have recovered is the main purpose of this book and of this group.
For the meditation, some suggestions are focus your breath and posture, breathe in God, and breathe out self. And take this time to reconnect with God. Let the craziness of the day drift away and ask God to help you focus on the study.
And let's bring in those monks.
Thank you.
And let's join in our fog light prayer, which will be coming to your screen. God, let your love shine through us like a fog light, so that those who are lost, sick, and dying can find your love through us. Amen.
And let's have our secretary's report. Come on in, Shayla.
Hi, my name is Shayla, and I'm your recovering alcoholic secretary. I've asked Larry to read the recovered statement. We read this notice to explain why many people in this group identify as recovered rather than recovering, and what exactly it means to be a recovered alcoholic. Take it away, Larry.
Hi, I'm Larry. Recovered. We are not cured of alcoholism. Recovered, but not cured. That presents a conflict to some alcoholics. If we were cured, we would be able to drink responsibly. No, we are not cured. The allergic reaction to alcohol will remain with us for a lifetime. But we have been restored to sanity. That was the problem. The main problem of the alcoholic centers in his mind rather than his body. Page 23. We are now sane where alcohol is concerned. Consequently, we have recovered.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you for joining us tonight. We meet every Tuesday starting at 5:30 p.m. Central Time with the Gerbil Fellowship Cage, where we chatter for an hour before the start of the meeting. Feel free to bring side dishes to share with the buzzards. Our Big Book study starts promptly at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, and we ask that you be courteous and ready to begin at the sound of the foghorn. We take our Big Book study seriously. Because of this, chat will be disabled during the study. In the 1940s, when the only elements to sobriety were God, a big book, and one recovered alcoholic working with an untreated alcoholic, the success rate was as follows. From the forward to the second edition of Alcoholics Anonymous, page XX of alcoholics who came to AA and really tried, 50% got sober at once and remained that way. 25% sobered up after some relapsed. And the remainder, those who stayed on with AA, showed improvement. Can we have a show of hands of people joining us for the first time?
I don't see any, so welcome back, everybody.
All right. And then the recovered alcoholics.
Welcome, James.
These are your potential sponsors. Is anyone celebrating a milestone this week?
Yes, my name is William Alcoholic, and I want to thank y'all and my friends in Tennessee, the AA, that this week I celebrated 33 years a day at a time.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that was fast.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
That's awesome. If If you should require a big book of your own, we have a large print editions available that can be sent to you by buzzard mail. Please remember to practice our 7th tradition by donating to the group address, Venmo, or PayPal posted in the chat on the screen. Our suggestion is to purchase a big book and take an untreated alcoholic through the program of recovery. Please visit our website, posted in the chat. Thank you, and see you next week.
Thank you, Shayla. Is it me or you, Shayna?
I can go.
Okay.
From chapter 2, there is a solution. The tremendous fact for every one of us is that we have discovered a common solution. We have a way out on which we can absolutely agree and upon which we can join in brotherly and harmonious action. This is the great news for the book carries to those who suffer from alcoholism.
This is an open meeting, and as such, all who have an interest in alcoholism and our program of recovery are welcome. Because this is an open meeting, you need not identify yourself nor your reason for being here if you do not wish to do so. Your anonymity will be protected. We ask that you protect ours.
While this is an open meeting, membership in this group is limited to those who wish to recover from alcoholism and have a desire to stop drinking for good and all. Each member of Alcoholics Anonymous is a potential sponsor of a new member and should clearly recognize the obligations and duties of such a responsibility.
Before we begin our study of the Big Book, last week we reviewed Tradition 11. Tonight, let's take a quick look at Tradition 12. And please refer to page 562 of Alcoholics Anonymous. And come on in, Susan.
Hello everybody, my name is Susan. I'm an alcoholic, and if we have sin, anonymity is a protective mantle that covers our whole society. Although it is more than protection, it has another dimension, a spiritual significance, which leads us to the 12th tradition, which reads anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities, and the long form is, and finally, we of Alcoholics Anonymous believe that the principle of anonymity has an immense spiritual significance. It reminds us that we are to place principles before personalities, that we are actually to practice a genuine humility. This to the end that our great blessings may never spoil us, that we shall forever live in thankful contemplation of Him who presides over us all. Well, in 1939, when the Big Book appeared, there was a foreword in there that stated, "It is important that we remain anonymous because we are too few at present to handle the overwhelming number of personal appeals which may result from this publication." Alright, the entire future of our fellowship hangs upon this vital spiritual principle. If we continue to be filled with the Spirit and practice of anonymity, no show or wreath can wreck us. If we forget this principle, the lid to Pandora's box will be off, and the spirit of money, power, and prestige will be loosed among us. No AA principle merits more study and application than this one. The spiritual substance of anonymity with sacrifice. Our 12 traditions repeatedly ask us to give up personal desires for the common good. Alright. There you are. Got lost here. We realize that the sacrifice spirit, well symbolized by anonymity, is the foundation of all our traditions. AA's proved willingness to make these sacrifices that gives folks high confidence in our future. I went on to look at when in 1939, when the Big Book appeared, it had that forward in it. But some of our newcomers cared not at all for personal anonymity. They wanted to shout from the AA rooftops, and they did. Alcoholics that they were, and some of them were barely dry, rushed about bright-eyed, telling anyone who would listen to their stories. Others even raced to get in front of cameras and microphones. Sometimes they got drunk and let their groups down with a bang. They changed from AA members to AA show-offs. It became apparent. All right, wait a minute. I lost my place again. It became apparent that as AA groups are multiplied, so did the anonymity problem. But it became apparent that the word-of-mouth method of letting people know about AA was limited. And I got this out of Alcoholics Anonymous Comes of Age. These experiences taught that anonymity is real humility at work. It is an all-persuading spiritual quality which today keynotes AA life everywhere. Moved by the spirit of anonymity, we try to give up our natural desires for personal distinction as AA members, both among fellow alcoholics and before the general public. As we lay aside these very human aspirations, we believe that each of us takes part in the weaving of a protective mantle which covers our whole society and under which we may grow and work in unity. Thank you for letting me do the traditions.
Wonderful job, Susan, the last 3 weeks. Thank you for your service.
I learned a lot. Thank you.
And next week we will have a new traditionalist coming in for traditions 1, 2, and 3.
Yay! And now we hear a lot of stuff in the meetings that can't be reconciled with the program as described in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. What follows is one of the things we often hear, along with what the Big Book has to say on the subject, as this is our segment of Batting in the Big Book. One of the things we hear is, William, can you tell us what's on?
There you go. Yes, my name is William Alcoholic. And on page 75, the last paragraph, returning home, we find a place where we can be quiet for an hour.
Thank you, William. And that's talking about one of the things we hear where some people say you only work 1 step a year or take your time with the steps, but the book says otherwise. So as we study, please make use of the pens, highlighters, and rulers so that you can share this experience with another alcoholic.
In order for us to stay focused, as we study the Big Book, we use the Big Book Study Guide, prepared by Joe and Charlie and Krusty Cliff of the Dallas Primary Purpose Group.
And tonight we are going to start our recap on page 122, and that will be read by our own Grand Elf, the Red, or Donald. And that will be followed by our study portion read by Alyssa. After those pages are read, we will ask questions from the imaginary podium, starting back at our study pages that Alyssa reads. The answers will be 1 sentence unless otherwise specified, and multi-part questions are simply a 1-sentence answer split up by commas, semicolons, hyphens, and other fun bits of punctuation.
Basically, in English, what that means is that we're going to read the material once through and then dissect the information a second time through the question and answer format. Notice how the language in the questions gives us new light in which to consider the study material.
And this is important because hearing the question and rereading the content offers a definite way of comprehending the material covered. After we've completed the study, we open up for comment, questions, and observations based on what was just read. If you have spiritual experiences with this information, you are free to share. Please keep your share on topic and under 5 minutes. And at the 5-minute mark, you may hear a timer beep to let you know your time is finished, but you don't have to cut it off really abruptly. You can go ahead and wrap up that final thought.
However, Big Book study is not therapy. Should you begin sharing on topics which are more appropriately discussed in a different setting, i.e. sponsor, please do not be offended when we cut that conversation short and send the buzzards nipping at your heels. For that purpose, we have fellowship meetings before and after our study time.
You can never go wrong by commenting on the pages studied, which brings us to the words of one of the co-founders of Alcoholics Anonymous. Sobriety, freedom from alcohol, through the teaching and practice of the 12 steps, is the sole purpose of any Alcoholics Anonymous group. And how we got to this point. We didn't just randomly open the page to chapter 9 and say, hey, let's study the family afterward. This is a 94-week study, and we start on the title page where we find our first promise telling us how thousands of people have recovered from alcoholism. And we use this format of the question and answers that Joe and Charlie and Krusty Cliff came up with. And we read through the preface, the forewords, each chapter, every page, line by line. 3 times throughout the study, the asterisk tells us to go and take a visit on Appendix 2, the spiritual experience. So we do that when the appendix tells us to. And then when we get to page 164, we spend 5 weeks in Dr. Bob's Nightmare using the same format. And then we have 2 weeks in the traditions. And then we close out on week 94 with a standalone week on the spiritual experience, because we do want to stress the importance of the spirituality and finding that higher power, and how that spiritual connection is so important to our recovery. And then after we do that on week 94, we go all the way back to the beginning to week 1 in the title page again. So this week we're on page 70, or we are on week 72, so we're kind of coming in. We're starting to circle for the landing, but we're not quite done yet.
And so before we start the recap, we'll need 5 or 6 virtual hands raised if you would like to be one of our interreaders. Please be aware that the first hour and a half of this meeting will be recorded so that we can put it onto our website and our YouTube channel.
And Gandalf, can you come on in with our recap tonight, please?
I can do that. Good evening, good evening, everybody. My name is Donald, other known as Randolph, the Red Pickle. And this is starting in chapter 9, The Family Afterwards, on page 122. Our womenfolk have suggested certain attitudes a wife may take with a husband who is recovering. Perhaps they created the impression that he is to be wrapped up in cotton wool and placed on a pedestal. Successful readjustment means the opposite. All members of the family should meet upon the common ground of tolerance, understanding, and love. This involves the process of depletion. The alcoholic, his wife, his children, his in-laws, each one is likely to have fixed ideas about the family's attitude towards himself or herself. Each is interested in having his or her wishes respected. We find the more one member of the family demands that the others concede to him, the more resentful they become. This makes for discord and unhappiness. And why? Is it not because each wants to play the head? Is not each trying to arrange the family show to his liking? Is he not unconsciously trying to see what he can take from the family life rather than to give. Cessation of drinking is but the first step away from a highly strained, abnormal condition. A doctor said to us, "Years of living with an alcoholic is almost sure to make any wife or child neurotic. The entire family is to some extent ill." Let families realize as they start their journey that not all will be fair weather. Each in his turn may be footsore and may straggle. There may be alluring shortcuts and bypaths down which they may wander and lose their way. Suppose we tell you of some of the obstacles a family will meet. Suppose we suggest how they may be avoided, even converted to good use for others. The family of the alcoholic longs for the return of happiness and security. They remember when Father was romantic, thoughtful, and successful. Today's life is measured against that of other years, and when it falls short, the family may be unhappy. Family confidence in Dad is rising high. The good days will soon be back. The good old days will soon be back, they think. Sometimes they demand that Dad bring them back instantly. God, they believe, almost owes his recompense on a long overdue account. But the head of the house has spent years in pulling down the structures of business, romance, friendship, health. These things are now ruined or damaged. It will take time to clear away the wreck. The old buildings will eventually be replaced with finer ones. The new structures will take years to complete. Thank you for letting me be of service.
Thank you for reading. And Alyssa, could you come on in with our study now?
Thank you, Trish. Alyssa, recovered alcoholic. Father knows he is to blame. It may take him many seasons of hard work to be restored financially, but he shouldn't be reproached. Perhaps he will never have much money again, but the wise family will admire him for what he is trying to be, rather than for what he is trying to get. Now and then the family will be plagued by spectres from the past, for the drinking career of almost every alcoholic has been marked by escapades, funny, humiliating, shameful, or tragic. The first impulse will be to bury these skeletons in a dark closet and padlock the door. The family may be possessed by the idea that future happiness can be based only upon forgetfulness of the past. We think that such a view is self-centered and in direct conflict with the new way of living. Henry Ford once made a wise remark to the effect that experience is the thing of supreme value in life. This is true only if one is willing to turn the past to good account. We grow by a willingness to face and rectify errors and convert them into assets. The alcoholic's past thus becomes the principal asset of the family, and frequently it is almost the only one. This painful past may be of infinite value to other families still struggling with their problem. We think each family which has been relieved owes something to those who have not, and when the occasion requires, each member of it should be only too willing to bring former mistakes, no matter how grievous, out of their hiding places. Showing others who suffer how we were given help is the very thing which makes life seem so worthwhile to us now. Cling to the thought that, in God's hands, the dark past is the greatest possession you have. The key to life and happiness for others is if you avert death and misery for them. It is possible to dig up past misdeeds so they become a blight, a variable plague. For example, we know of situations in which the alcoholic or his wife have had love affairs. In the first flush of spiritual experience, they forgave each other and drew closer. The miracle of reconciliation was at hand. Then, under one provocation or another, the aggrieved one would unearth the old affair and angrily cast its ashes about. A few of us had these growing pains, and they hurt a great deal. Husbands and wives have sometimes been obliged to separate for a time until new perspective, new victory over hurt pride could be rewon. In most cases, the alcoholic survived this ordeal without relapse, but not always. So we think that unless some good and useful purpose is to be served, past occurrences should not be discussed. We families of Alcoholics Anonymous keep few skeletons in the closet. Everyone knows about the other's alcoholic's troubles. This is a condition which in ordinary life would produce untold grief. There might be scandalous gossip, laughter at the expense of other people, and a tendency to take advantage of intimate information. Among us, these are rare occurrences. We do talk about each other a great deal, but we almost invariably temper such talk by a spirit of love and tolerance.
Thank you, Alyssa. And now we're going to go back to the middle of page 123 where Alyssa started reading. And those of you with your hands raised, you may please go ahead and unmute. And our batting order tonight will be Kenny, Linda, Donald, Art, Terry, William, and Nancy. And thank you all for being of service tonight. And Kenny, our first question is coming to you, and it's a three-part question. A, what does Father know? B, what may be required for financial recovery? And C, he shouldn't be what?
Father knows he is to blame. It may take him many seasons of hard work to be restored financially, but he shouldn't be reproached.
Thank you. And Linda, will he someday be financially well off?
Perhaps he will never have as much money again.
Thank you. And Donald, what will the Wise family do?
But the Wise family will admire him for what he is trying to be, rather than for what he is trying to get.
Thank you. Art, with what will the family be plagued from time to time?
Now and then the family will be plagued by specters from the past. For the drinking career of almost every alcoholic has been marked by escapades, funny, humiliating, shameful, or tragic.
Thanks so much. And Terry, what will be the first impulse when these appear?
First impulse will be to bury these skeletons in a dark closet and padlock the door.
Thank you. And William, the birthday boy, with what may the family be possessed?
Family may be possessed by the ideal that future happiness can be based only upon forgiveness of the past.
Thank you so much. And Nancy, coming to you, a two-part question. What do we think about this? And in direct conflict with what?
We think that such a view is self-centered and in direct conflict with the new way of living.
Thank you. And Kenny, back to you. What did Henry Ford once say?
Henry Ford once made a wise remark to the effect that experience is the thing of supreme value in life.
Thank you so much. And Linda, when is that true?
That is true only if one is willing to turn the past to good account.
Thank you. Donald, what is it we do to grow?
We grow by our willingness to face and rectify errors and convert them into assets.
Thank you. And Art, what does the alcoholic's past prove to be?
The alcoholic's past thus becomes the principal asset of the family, and frequently it is almost the only one.
And I'll come in here with a comment. Our past is what we were like, what happened, and what we are like now. The problem, the solution, the practical program of action, and the promises.
Thank you. And Terry, to you, our painful past may prove to be what?
This painful past may be of infinite value to other families still struggling with their problem.
Thank you. And William, when the family is in recovery, what do we think they should be willing to do?
We think a family which has been relieved it owes something to those who have not. And when these occasions requires each other of it should be only too willing to bring former mistakes, no matter how grievous, out of their hiding place, showing others who suffer.
That's it. Hiding places is where you stop. Thank you. And Nancy,
Okay, thank you.
what does working with others prove to be?
Showing others who suffer how we were given help is the very thing which makes life seem so worthwhile to us now.
It sure does. And Kenny, back to you with another two-part question. A, what thought must we hang on to? And B, it is the key to what?
Cling to the thought that in God's hand, the dark past is the greatest possession you have, the key to life and happiness for others.
Thank you so much. And Linda, what can happen as we share our past?
With it, you can avert death and misery for them.
Thank you.
And the second comment, again, we are reminded of our primary purpose and how very important it is, not only to us, but to the ones who give us an opportunity to share with them our experience and our knowledge of the programs.
Thank you. And Donald, will digging up some parts of our past prove harmful?
It is possible to dig up past misdeeds so they become a blight, a veritable plague.
Thank you. And Art, what example are we given?
For example, we know situations in which the alcoholic or his wife have had love affairs.
Thank you. And Terry, in the beginning of their recovery, how did it go?
In the first blush of spiritual experience, they forgave each other and drew closer together.
Thank you. And William, what was in view?
Miracle reconciling was at hand.
Thank you so much. And Nancy, then because of some trifling event, what happened?
Then, under one provocation or another, the aggrieved one would unearth the old affair and angrily cast its ashes about.
Thank you. Kenny, a few of us have had what?
Few of us have had these growing pains, and they hurt a great deal.
Thank you. And Linda, what have some husbands and wives been forced to do?
Husbands and wives have sometimes been obliged to separate for a time until new perspective, new victory over hurt pride could be renewed, redone.
Thank you. And Donald, in most cases, how did the alcoholic fare?
In most cases, the alcoholic survived this ordeal without relapse, but not always.
Thank you. And Art, so unless there is good reason, what do we think should not happen?
So we think that unless some good and useful purpose is to be served, past occurrences should not be discussed.
Thank you so much. And Terry, what do families of Alcoholics Anonymous not keep?
We families of Alcoholics Anonymous keep few skeletons in the closet.
Thank you. And William, everyone in their group knows what?
Everyone knows about the other's alcoholic's trouble.
And Nancy, in ordinary life, what would this produce?
This is a condition which, in an ordinary life, would produce untold grief. There might be scandalous gossip, laughter at the expense of other people, and a tendency to take advantage of intimate information.
Thank you. And Kenny, back to you. What is rare among us?
Among us These are rare occurrences.
Thank you. And Linda, a two-part question and our final question. A, who is it we do talk about a great deal? And B, but in what spirit does this take place?
We do talk about each other a great deal, but we almost invariably temper such talk by a spirit of love and tolerance.
Thank you so much, and you may all remute and put your hands down. And we're now going to open the floor for sharing. If you have experience with the portion of the book we've just read, please, you are free to share. And please be mindful of your time and that others may have their hands raised behind you and are waiting to share. And a friendly reminder as we share, absence of profanity offends no one. So we're now going to open up for comments, questions, observations, and spiritual experiences based on what was just read. So don't be shy, come on in.
Hi, my name is Linda. I'm an alcoholic. I just wanted to say that when I read this, I read about how are we going to interact with this person now that they're not drinking. You know, they're not doing the same things. They're not thinking the same things. You know, how are we supposed to respond to them? You know, we're still smarting from all the things that they did. You know, it's like, here this person has done all this to us for so many years, and then they want us to forgive them in 2 weeks. Doesn't work like that. You know, there's a lot of healing. There's a lot of healing that has to go on, and a lot of forgiveness. And the last part that I read, it's like, you know, with patience and love and tolerance, that's how you're going to deal with this person. You know, if you love someone, you're going to stick by their side. Sometimes there's so many things they do, you can't stick by their side. It's just too much. You know, but if it hasn't gotten to that point and you know you can still go the line, you'll stay with them. And I've seen a lot of women stay. They know their husbands did stuff. They know the things that their husband did, but they still stayed with them. You know, and they loved them, and they stayed by their sides. And even men for the women, you know. And in some cases, you know, the family breaks up, and it's no reconciliation. There's no forgiveness. You know, every situation, every family is different. But I know in my situation, it wasn't about a husband and a wife. It was about me and my children. You know, and they were little, so they really didn't know better. But as they got older, there were things that they would tell me. But by the way they would tell me, I knew that they had forgiven me. Except one, every now and then they want to bring up the past and, you know, try to beat me with the club of guilt. Until I was doing a step. And I realized I don't have to tolerate another person, you know, trying to beat me up with the club of guilt. You know, I've made my amends. You either forgive me or you don't forgive me. But I'm not going to keep letting you, you know, hit me with this club of guilt. And surprisingly, it's the oldest one that did see, you know, that did see a lot of stuff. The girls will never see it because they were born when I was in recovery, you know. And I remember my youngest son told me, he said, you know, I love you and you're a good mother. And that was it, you know. And you know, it's so ironic. And it's like I look at the correlation. It's like every time my oldest son wants to beat me with the club of guilt, it's when he's drinking. It's when he's under the influence of drugs. When he's not, he's the sweetest person. But as soon as he gets that liquor in him, he turns into Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. His face looks different. His attitude. He's angry with everyone. He blames everyone for all the things he's been through. You know, and I had told one of my kids, I said, I'm not going to get into it with him because if I do, I'm going to say some really mean things. And it's really going to hurt him. I'm going to say some really mean things. You know, I'm going to tell him, well, what about you? How you treated your kids? Being incarcerated. And that would really hit him below the belt, you know. So instead of hurting, you know, they say hurt people, I just stay away from him and I don't say anything. And I let him know, you know, there's help. There's help. You did ask me about meetings, so it's up to you. You know, you were making meetings when you were incarcerated, and you, all of a sudden when you got out, you got well. So it's all up to you because you know where to get the help. You came to meetings with me when you were a little kid. So, you know, every adult, you know, it's their decision what they want to do. It's their decision. I can't, I can't help a person who doesn't want help. But, it was like, I know that I did damage. I know I did damage, But you have to understand one thing. You were very young. It wasn't that long. It wasn't like some kids 15 years old and their parents get into the rooms. You were very young. And I did the best that I could with what I had. I mean, he painted me to be a monster. This kid had new shoes, new clothes. He went to a good school. When anything happened, I was always there. I didn't allow anyone put their hands on him. And, it was just, it was a lot of things that he was making up that didn't even occur. I remember one of my kids, the other son, was like, and when did all this happen? What is he talking about? I said, I don't know. He's drinking. He's delusional. So sometimes you have people that forgive you. You have some people that don't. And they want to hold you. They want to hold you hostage to that. And I don't care what it is. I'm not letting anyone hold me hostage to anything. And for all his anger that he has towards me, it's really towards his father. His father died. I can forgive him. I don't have to meet hostility and anger and pain with anger and pain. Because as they say, hurt people. And some people will use their pain as a weapon. They're not dealing with it. They're going to use their pain as a weapon. And they're going to stay hiding behind their drink, blaming everyone else. Typical alcoholic. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Linda. Thanks for kicking us off. And folks, we could use some hands, please. Hi, Alyssa. Come on in.
Thank you, Trish. Alyssa, recovered alcoholic, and thank you for letting me be of service, and thank you for everybody who is here being of service, or just here, actually. This reading is not odd. God's always right on time for me, and if I show up right with the willingness, honesty, and open-mindedness, the essentials of our recovery. And as I was reading this, there was parts that were starting to hit me. I had to keep my voice. But this is exactly the thing that, there's a few things that I'm learning about these chapters that, aren't studied as much. Bill just reiterated our way of life. The steps are here. I see, we have to put everything down. We don't say this is what we're going to deal with, and we won't touch this one. We get it all out. That's what, the first step allows us to do. And, it says it in here that, each member of it should be only too willing to bring former mistakes, because whatever I hold on to, that's going to be the first thing that in the family, right, that's going to tick me off. If I'm dealing with another, I'm not the only alcoholic in my family, but for me, they're just reiterating what they've told us as the alcoholic, which is really cool to see. That we grow by our willingness to face and rectify and convert them into assets. And that's exactly as the alcoholic what I get to do, is I get to take the things that I did wrong, and I get to learn from them today, and I get to turn them into, instead of self-will behaviors, they turn into God-will behaviors. And everybody else's reaction is out of my control. I get to show up and do the next right thing. I get to move around practicing the principles. And, I can't tell somebody else to get over it. I can show them the tools that will help them get through it. But I have no business telling anybody that they need to, I've told you I was sorry. I know I can't use the word sorry because I apologize for my behavior, how it made you feel. This is what I intend to do going forward. That's a very simplified amends, but I don't bring up their part, because that's where people hurt people. Like, I'm not in the business of hurting other people today. I want nothing more than to allow the opportunity for everybody to heal. And everything is on God's time, but this is exactly where I needed to be today, tonight, at this moment, reading, and this, and nothing in God's world happens by mistake. And even in those moments where it hurts, right? Like that pain in your heart, it hurts because you can't take away what's done, but the opportunity that's given, like, to show them that you've changed and that you're no longer that person that intentionally goes around being selfish and hurts people that you love. And I don't know, that's a pretty big blessing, because some of us don't live to do that. Some of us are too damn selfish. We can't get past the 4th step, and I speak in the we term, but I'm really speaking for myself. And just, it's a simple way of life. It's not easy, and those hard moments are worth it 100% of the time, because after you get over that hard moment, it's like rocketed into the 4th dimension of existence is an understatement, and that's been my experience, and that's why I keep coming back, because I'm living a life beyond my dreams, even after all the havoc I pulled everybody through. So thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being here. William, come on in.
My name is William Michael Hawley. I thank everybody for having me stay sober today. And when we read like this, and this reading that we're reading tonight, it talk about the past and what could happen in the future, but the spiritual part of the program. And it really dealing with healthy relationship, teaching me how to have a healthy relationship. My family, I wasn't there when I was supposed to be there. I thought I could give you this and I could do what I want to do. So it teaches me how to have something for other people feeling. And in order for that to happen, you have to be some forgiving. We don't forget, but we have to forget and grow from those things. When one thing they used to tell us, when you know better, you do better, and that's the education that we're getting from this book. And this like part of the 9th step, for the family. And this book really uses so many other situations for every human need. A lot of psychologists use it, a lot of counselors use it. Social workers use it, to help to bring people back together, And I love what it was saying down there about if we start pointing the finger at each other, ain't nothing going to happen. You ain't get nothing done, But we all have been some skeleton in the closet, So if we look at the spiritual part of the thing, whatever amount of spiritual we have there, and understand, that you have a better future if you put these principles in your life. And that's so true with me, Today my life is nowhere close to what it used to be like, I have a better life because I have a better understanding. I have a healthy relationship with family, with other people out there, Do I do it perfect? No. But one thing is today, because of my education here in Alcoholics Anonymous, about these things, I'm aware of, I don't feel right about it, and that's what he's talking about. That the next step is say to do this, and right in that next step it said to going to hurt somebody and somebody else. I can't paraphrase it right now, But they say whenever hurt somebody else, what not to do, and that's the old time we used to talk about it. That's the grip aroma, and that's what happened whenever you start making a meal, you get these things come back to you that alcohol took away from me, and I have to realize that. But it's about having a healthy relationship with it, because I have a spiritual program that guides me, and I don't drink today. But like what he said, even though the financial situation may not never come back, but what I learned when I stopped drinking, I began to have more money, because once I started drinking, it didn't matter what the price of liquor, it didn't matter whether I had to pay rent, it didn't matter whether I was going to buy groceries. I could easily rationalize and justify why I should take that other drink, because I had planned all this stuff before I picked up the drink. This is my groceries money, this is my rent money, this is this money for that, and this the drinking money, Once I picked up that drink, I was off to the race, So now I got some information and some help to God and to you people to help me to sort of be okay. So today, I find that I have more money than I was when I was drinking. So thank you so much. And better relationships.
Thank you, William. Thank you for being here with us tonight. Hi, Rick. Fireman.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be here. A friend of mine sent me a link to a meeting he was doing tonight. I said, I got to come here tonight. It's been a while. No, but thank you, group, for the way this meeting is done. Page 124, cling to the thought that in God's hands, the dark past is the greatest possession you have, the key to life and happiness for others. With it, you can avert death and misery for them. How's my family afterwards? The way I look at it, they have stopped white knuckling, because Rick did make the promises in the past. Okay, I won't drink anymore. I won't drink today. I won't drink for a week. I won't drink for a month. And music is a little early. And,
I think she forgot to reset it.
And so for me, what do? I continue to do them, how it works, and interaction, those chapters that can help Rick get better, and as I get better, my family has a better life, because I was the player, I was the one who caused the damages that were being done. Today I know I have not only, I've always had their love, but today I know they like me and I do have their trust. I continue to get rid of those unsaleable goods that it tells me to write about and to get rid of. Because as we go through life, I go through life, things happen where I still want to react in a bad way, so I have to keep working on me. So to that small example, she called me, she was out a few days ago, she got stopped by the police, and registration on her car, which is my fault because I take care of the cars, but was expired. And no big deal, he let her go because he could see it expired in November. And when she told me about it, she says, I saw him go in and out of traffic to get to me. I says, and you were chased? Before it would have been, how could you let this happen? Why don't you do that? But we went to the registry, we got it done, and got it read, and all I did was jokingly kept picking on her, and then she says, when we're done with this, I'm throwing you out of my car, she goes, and it's just the way I react now to things. It's better, as it's already been said tonight. We react better to situations. I just stay in this stuff. I work with others. I got two who keep not showing up. I'm going to tell them, okay, we'll do it another time, because there's others asking me, and I want to keep busy in this, because I need to cling to the thought that in God's hands the dark past is the greatest possession. I used to just want everybody, including myself, to forget about the past. Look, any grand that the wind stopped blowing, that was me. I don't want the wind to blow anymore. Sometimes it blows a little bit, but I know I gotta, take care of that. So, anyways, thank you. I'll give up. Well, I still got a minute and somewhat, but I'll give it to another one, because I am rambling, and thank you all for being here again.
Thank you, Rick. It's always good to see you. Hi, Kim. Come on in.
Hi, Kim Alcoholic. This was really good, and the things that really stuck out to me were the alcoholic's past thus becomes a principal asset of the family, and then just the next paragraph down, cling to the thought that in God's hands the dark past is the greatest possession you have, the key to life and happiness for others. And I put my family through a lot. My biological family, I basically, abandoned. I didn't contact them. I would send a text message on holidays and birthdays, and that was pretty much it. In 2023 was the first time I went to my family's. I went for Thanksgiving, and the first time I'd been with them in more than 20 years for a holiday, and it was amazing. And of course, we went back this year, and they loved me. They always did love me. It was me not loving myself. And, I know with my husband, he was very distrustful, of course, when I first got sober. And I didn't blame him. I mean, that was my doing. And I knew that it was only through time and working on myself and, improving my behavior and increasing, my strength in recovery and my strength in my higher power, that was ever going to subside, if it ever did. And it really was not my concern at that point. It was one of those things that at that point it's not my stuff. I caused it, but I can't fix it. All I can do is look at myself. All I can do is change my behavior. And I do have his trust now. And I have to share this. This was a really cool thing. So I was with some friends at a cabin that we go to ever so often. And one of my friends got really mad at everybody. I don't really know why, but she was telling everybody what they had done. And she looked at me, she said, "And you didn't do anything." I'm like, cool. And that was one of the first times that could be said, that I didn't do anything to make a situation worse, because, before I definitely would have done so. I appreciated reading this tonight, and thank you all for being here and being a part of my recovery today. And that's all I got.
Thank you so much for being here with us tonight, Kim. We have no hands, so who's going to jump in next? Hi, Larry. You're muted.
I'm Larry. I'm an alcoholic. I looked at this portion, and I could I could relate to, well, I could relate to a lot of it, but you know, I pretty much I understand about abandoning the family. Also, I mean, I abandoned my whole family. Uh, they didn't know anything about me for years. And I didn't think anything about it because they were grown. You know, I figured, you know, what would they care whether or not they knew anything about me anyway? Um, and I didn't want them to know anything about me. I didn't want them to know what I was doing. I was ashamed of what I was doing, so I didn't want them to know. And I I just, you know, I kept it from them. And when, you know, during the period of time that I was home, when I did, you know, before I just abandoned ship, when I was home, I was never home. I was looking for a job away from home. Couldn't wait to get away from home because, you know, I told myself because that's where the money was. I told myself that's how I supported my family. I told myself that, you know, that I was being a good provider, all of which was lies. The truth of it was when I was away from home, I could drink and I could party and I could do whatever I wanted to do that I couldn't do when I was home. So, you know, it was that way for years. And, you know, I was, you know, in a 12-month period, I was gone for probably 9, 10 months out of the year. I was away from home. They never saw me. And if they did see me, I was always on the telephone looking for work to get away from home. And they could see that. They could feel that. I know they felt that. And anyway, so it took a long time for me to get things better. And after the divorce and after everything got done, you know, I didn't realize, you know, that, you know, I divorced because my wife found somebody else, of course, and she got married and started another family. And you know, I got mad about that. You know, why I got mad about that, I don't know. You know, I couldn't hardly count the days that while I was gone when I wasn't cheating on my wife. But I got mad because she cheated on me, and it didn't make sense. It didn't add up. But my pride was hurt, and I got mad, and it took a long time for me to get over that resentment. But I did through this program, through Alcoholics Anonymous. When I finally got in here, about 4 years into the program, I get a call from my kids saying that my ex was about to commit suicide, and so I had the option. Found out what it was all about. That my wife was blaming her because she broke up the family. That she was getting a divorce. That she caused the divorce. That she caused the breakup of the family, and all da. And you know, myself, what I wanted to do was say, well, why don't you just come back with me and we'll start the family all over again. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to do. But I knew that wasn't the right thing to do. The book says here, so we think that unless some good and useful purpose is to be served, past occurrences should not be discussed. Well, this was one time that I had to use that, and I had to discuss a past occurrence. And I do want to stress that I didn't go into detail. All I told my wife was, you did not break up our marriage. I was the one that caused and broke the marriage vows first. That's what I told my wife. I did not go and discuss details. I did not tell her instances or anything else. I just said that I broke the marriage vows first. You are off the hook. And it worked. She was happy to know that. She felt better. We are friends today. We're better friends than we ever was, husband and wife, I think. This program works. I got out of the way, and I did what this program taught me to do. I'm Larry, and I'm an alcoholic.
Thank you, Larry. Thanks for your share. I'm going to go ahead and jump in because we have no hands again. I am Trish, and I'm an alcoholic, and I want to thank everybody for being here. This is one of my favorite chapters, but I can say that about just about all the chapters. But I love the third sentence tonight. But the wise family will admire him for what he was trying to be rather than for what he is trying to get. I had those skeletons in the closets, and I had those secrets, and I kept them not just in my closet, I kept them in front of me to keep people away. I kept them in front of me to keep my family away. Because I just wanted to see just wanted to keep reminding them how bad I was. How rotten I was. But they never saw a lot of that. Because I wasn't necessarily living under their roof. What they saw was their daughter pushing them away and not talking to them, and them having no clue why. Until years into the program, decades into the program, I finally sat down and got honest with my family. I had carried resentment against my family for years, my parents, for not supporting me in the rooms, because they never talked about it. But they never talked about it because I didn't talk about it. And when I didn't talk about it, they figured I wasn't going to AA anymore and I didn't need it. I saw that conversation, or them not bringing it up, as they're not supporting me, they don't love me, they don't want to know what I'm doing. But we got that all straightened out. So now they are admiring and they are proud of me for who I'm trying to be, who I'm growing to be. And who I'm growing to be is who God wants me to be, not who they want me to be, and not necessarily who I want to be. But I had to get those skeletons out of the closet and throw them out on the trash heap in the backyard. Because I was using them and living in shame behind them, rather than trying to find out what the truth was. And, I don't have a whole lot of pain in my past anymore. But what used to be painful in my past, I can now use to help others. And the book says that. The painful past of infinite value may be of infinite value to families still struggling with their problem. What to me used to be shame and grief and sorrow is now a strength that I can use to share with other people of, yeah, I know where you are. I know where you're coming from. I know what you're dealing with. But this is what I did when I was there. And if you're willing to do the same thing, there is a way out of that pain and that sorrow and that grief and that shame. I'm okay bringing forward those mistakes if it's going to help another person. whether it's somebody in the family, out of the family, a friend, somebody at work. I don't mind reliving my past anymore if it's going to benefit somebody. And and I love how we talked about towards the end. Everyone knows about each other's alcoholic troubles. We share enough in these rooms together that we know. We know what each other's troubles are. We know when somebody's off. We know when somebody's missing to pick up that phone and call them. And I never used to have that before. I don't have that in my family still. I'll reach out and call them. They'll call me every now and then. Mom and Dad won't call me because they don't want to interrupt what I'm doing in life. And sometimes I just want to say, the phone goes both ways. Don't tell me it's been too long since I've called you. You can call me too. But I also know that that's a direct result of me not talking to them for so long. That maybe they don't feel welcome yet. So I have to make that concerted effort to pick up the phone and call them once a week, twice a week, however often it takes. But in these rooms, you know what I'm going through. You know what I'm struggling with. If I'm quiet, and I was always quiet when I came in here, but something happened and I'm not so anymore. But if I'm quiet, I get people reaching out saying, what's up? What's wrong? What's going on? But that's a direct result of being able to take these skeletons out of my closet and not letting them control me anymore. Goes back to the 9-step promise. I won't regret the past, and I don't wish to shut the door on it. I can't regret the past, and I can't want to change the past, because that past made me who I am today. And if somebody came down with a magic wand and said, what would you want to change? What would you want to remove from your past? I wouldn't want to do that today. Because I love who I am, and I love my life today. And if I were to go back and change anything in my past, skeletons or not, I would not be who I am today. And I love the path that I'm on right now, and I love the ladies that I work with, and I love doing what I'm doing. And I don't want to miss out on anything today. Thank you, Terry. Come on in.
Thank you, Trish. Let me lower this. First of all, I'm Terry, recovered alcoholic, aka Pickle Chips. First of all, I want to wish William happy birthday. I am so delighted to hear 33 years. Gosh, and I've known you the whole time, that, 4 years, or we coming up on 5 or 4. But 5. The cool thing is we've got to grow together. And just, I love you, man. You're such a big part of my sobriety. And Rick, I'm always so excited to see you. Fireman Rick. And all my other friends here. So happy birthday, William. This chapter always kind of confused me because my ex-husband was also alcoholic. So we were both, he did, as far as I know, he's still not sober today, but that's neither here nor there. But I was insistent that they forgave me. And I didn't quite, they, as in my ex-husband and my teenage boys, I wanted them to forgive me, but I wasn't willing to forgive. And so I was a hot mess when I got here. And, but I kept plugging in and kept trying to learn how to forgive. And the more I tried to do that, the more that it was suggested that I may want to just start by forgiving myself. And that just was such an open door for me. And I was able to forgive my sons. And maybe not my ex-husband because of the, it talks about the cheating and stuff. Um, I don't think I could ever forgive that. But I don't need to. We're divorced. It's over. That part anyway. But I just felt so much forgiveness reading this tonight, and I'm not real sure why. I think it might be a reminder for me to forgive myself, because I did a lot of stuff that I'm not proud of when I was drinking. Well, even today, I sometimes do stuff I'm not proud of. But I'm going through some changes right now with having to move and find a place to live, and not living with my family. Even though it's been a tough haul for the last year and a half, I'm still going to miss them. And so I'm feeling a great deal of loss right now. And this family after made me realize, there's a lot of growth that could still be done. I do have a relationship with a son that him and his family moved in with me a year and a half ago, and I do have a better relationship with him today than I have since he was a teenager. So I'm very grateful for that. And I'm grateful we get to read these chapters together and talk about it and share about it. Because I don't feel safe talking about it with anybody else, to tell you the truth. So anyway, that's all I got. A big lesson in forgiving myself tonight. So thanks for letting me share.
Thanks, Terry. Glad you're here. We've got time. Who's next? John, are you able to jump in?
Hi, my name is John, and I am an alcoholic. Great to be here. Great to be sober. And extremely grateful to be at a meeting that people understand how my brain thinks. Because for this alcoholic, it truly is a thinking problem. Drinking is just simple. I don't know, Trish. Oh, my time's up. I'm done. No. I was sitting here thinking of three wonderful words that really stuck out to me when you called on me. God of my understanding and your God met with my God, and all this mumble jumble. But I appreciate you calling on me. My favorite three words in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous is love and tolerance. I have a lot of love for the AA did for me. And I have a lot of tolerance for myself today because of you people teaching me how to be a better parent, how to be a better dad, how to be a better husband, how to all these wonderful things. I was sitting back tonight. Folks, it's been 4 weeks since I first came to this meeting. I was in the hospital. My wife and her newborn child, 24 hours after, like 27 and a half hours after she was born. And I'm so glad that today I get to remember these things. That I was in the hospital and I found, sponsor sent me the link to be able to come to this meeting, and I've stayed with it because I want to grow. But love and tolerance is very vital for this alcoholic, and as long as I don't pick up the first drink, I can't get drunk. And if I can't get drunk, my children that I have, 3 children that I have right now, will never have to see me drunk, and I'm truly grateful for that. You know, my oldest daughter, that's 7, she used to drink to rim out in a beer can. I've been sober for just over 4 years, one day at a time. And this past weekend, I was on a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, and it's an open meeting as well. And she comes up to me and after the meeting, and she goes, "Daddy, how come we didn't read it in the meeting?" You know, it was just a casual Saturday, but she remembers these things, and I'm truly grateful for that. She loves what Daddy's doing for himself and for them, and because of Alcoholics Anonymous, my life has gotten so much better. See, the bottom line, folks, is that I get drunk, but we, and I stress the word we stay sober. In the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, the word "we" is written in there 1,097 times in the first 164 pages. I'm so glad that today I have a beauty program. I'm so grateful that I have a "we" family. And it's you people, and it's my biological family. No one else has told you today that they love you. Let me be the first one. I love each and every one of you. John Alcoholic is going to take another God's gift of sobriety. Join us in that journey.
Thank you, John. Always glad that you're with us. We've got 2 more minutes. Does anybody want to jump in?
I suppose I could jump in. My name is Donald, aka Gandalf the Red Pickle, and good evening, everyone. It's so nice to be with you guys tonight. It's really funny though that some time ago, 5 years before I quit drinking, I quit drinking. Started going to AA, but I didn't work the steps. I was a dry drunk for 3 years. And life was good. I was in a relationship. But, it still had its ups and downs. And 3 years after quit drinking, we decided to part ways. And so it was like, wow, okay. There was ups and downs, and I didn't have the information that I have now in my toolbox. But so I went back out drinking after her and I split up, and I didn't have family. My relationships with my sister and my father and stuff, were okay. But, I lost my father while I was in prison. So I couldn't, rebuild that connection. And, the last 8 years of his life, I was in prison. The last 7 years, something like that. And so I couldn't rebuild that connection or that family. But I was single 2 years before I quit drinking this last time. And then those were the 2 years that I was drinking again, So I don't know how to rebuild a relationship other than, the ones that... Because I only have my sister now. That's it. Both of our parents parents are dead. I don't have a significant other. I didn't have a significant other at the time that I was drinking the last time. But I can understand what's said, in these passages that we read today, because there was a couple of things that I cling to the thought that in God's hands, the dark past is the greatest possession you have, the key to life and happiness for others. And even whenever I knew that, I know that experience you have to understand through experience. And that's why a lot of alcoholics, recovered alcoholics, go into rehabs and try to, bring the word, because they make the best counselors because of their experience. Because they understand that they have hope for other people. And that's what this whole program is all about. That's why I keep coming back, and that's why I keep going to do HNI. That's why I still take service commitments, because I believe in this program. Because, what it's done to my heart and to this big thing up here. And so I think I took up way too much time. So God bless you guys. We'll probably see you next week.
Thank you, Donald, a.k.a. Grand Elf the Red Pickle.
Yeah, I forgot to pickle tonight.
That's okay.
We're all pickles.
We are. We all have the same last name. Shayna, are you able to read our closing, or would you like to defer to someone else? Because you may be driving. Oh, there you are.
She's shouting.
I am here.
But she's up.
I'm
right
following around a little person. I would be grateful if somebody wouldn't mind reading for me.
Terry, are you able to do that? I threw it in the chat for you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Let me get to the chat. Let's see. Jump to the latest. Oh, there it is. Okay, everybody. I am going to read the closing for us. Let me just scroll up a little bit. Sorry. Talking to myself. Okay. Okay, from page 164. Our book is meant to be suggestive only. We realize we know only a little. God will constantly disclose more to you and to us. Ask Him in your morning meditation what you could do each day for the man who is still sick. The answers will come if your own house is in order. But obviously, you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See to it that your relationship with Him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is a great fact for us. Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to Him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past. Hold on. Give freely of what you find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then.
Thank you,
Okay.
Thank you for
You're welcome.
in. So we are going to go ahead and close out in our normal pickle fashion, since we are not in a place where we can stand around the table and hold hands like in a brick and mortar meeting. We hold our hands up in the screen, and that's how we connect with each other as we pray out. And we'll go ahead, we'll take a moment of silence for those still suffering inside and outside of these rooms, and we'll follow that with the Lord's Prayer. So here's your moment. Thank you. And who brings us from shame to grace if we let him? Our Father,
Father,
who
who
art
art in heaven,
hallowed be
Hallowed
thy
be
name.
thy name.
Thy
Thy
kingdom
kingdom come,
thy
thy will be
thy
done
will be
on earth
as
as it
it
is
is
in heaven.
as it is in
Give
heaven.
Give
us
us
this
this
day
day
our daily
our
bread,
daily
and
bread,
forgive us our
and forgive us our
trespasses,
trespasses,
as
as
we
we
forgive
forgive
those who
those who
trespass
trespass
against us.
against us. And
And
lead
lead
us
us
not
not
into
into temptation,
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 but
deliver us
deliver
from
us from
evil.
evil.
deliver us from
For
For
evil.
thine
thine
is
is
the
the
kingdom,
kingdom,
Thy is
and
the
the
kingdom
power,
and the
and the
power
glory,
and the glory
forever and
forever and
ever.
ever.
Amen.
Amen.
What a great reading. Thank you so much for
Only if you work so
Got to
hard
be
to
praying for you in
catch
transition.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday,
Thank you, dear.
William.
Happy birthday,
Bye,
William.
everybody.
Congratulations, William.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Happy
Jason, enjoy shopping.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy
Yes.
anniversary.